Hello, my name is Michelle Corfin. I'm the Chief Operating Officer of Tyme Technologies. Some of the comments I will make during this presentation may contain forward-looking statements. I refer you to our full safe harbor statement in our most recent SEC filings. Tyme Technologies is a clinical stage emerging biotechnology company. We're focused on exploring novel therapeutic approaches which are designed to target the cancer cell's unique aspects of metabolism. Tyme is advancing our proprietary cancer metabolism-based therapies, or CMBTs, for difficult-to-treat cancers. There are 5 key aspects of the Tyme investment rationale. First is the fact that Tyme is a leader in cancer metabolism-based therapies. We have over a decade of experience studying our CMBTs with a strong patent portfolio broadly covering composition, methods, manufacturing, and use extending beyond 2032. The second key point is that Tyme is exploiting the extensively studied Warburg Effect. Dr. Otto Warburg first presented his findings close to 90 years ago. Our focus is developing a first-in-class approach to kill cancer cells through the disruption of cancer metabolism, and we are targeting this through multiple mechanisms of actions. Tyme believes this unique approach can provide broad therapeutic efficacy without unnecessary off-target toxicity. Our lead candidate, oral SM-88, has now started our Tyme pivotal study. So we are actively enrolling patients in our TYME-88 study, which is a pivotal study for third-line patients. We are also enrolling patients in the Precision Promise study, which also has registration intent. And this study is a partnership with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network focused on second line. We're also actively enrolling patients in the Sarcomas study, both Ewing's and other high-risk sarcomas. And this year, we are preparing SM-88 for clinical programs in cancer beyond our ongoing studies, potentially including areas such as breast cancer, prostate cancer, and/or blood cancers. From a patient standpoint, unfortunately, these are all large growing market opportunities. For Tyme, these present an important opportunity for us to potentially expand SM-88 into other areas. And the final key point is the oral advantage. SM-88 is an oral therapy, so you have the ease of administration for the patient being able to take his or her medication at home. 2020 has been an exciting year for Tyme as we've already looked to accomplish key milestones, and we have other very important milestones that we will focus on in the latter portion of this year. Our key milestones to date have focused on advancing clinical trials, advancing our preclinical data, and also advancing the health economic work in partnership with key academic partners. In terms of the clinical area, we've advanced enrollment in our 88-Panc pivotal study in third-line pancreatic cancer and advanced enrollment in the sarcoma phase 2. PanCan announced the start of the Precision Promise study earlier this year, which will study SM-88 initially in second-line therapy. And then we had our health economic data published at ASCO GI, our first step in our health economic work, and we will continue to broaden that data set. And we've also discussed preclinical data for both SM-88 and TYME-18, and we'll look to further advance the data sets for those 2 compounds. Looking forward to the latter half of 2020, we will look for some key publications, publishing our SM-88 phase 2 prostate study, and also presenting or publishing our final data from the part 1 of our 88-Panc study. We'll also be looking to advance other aspects of our clinical programs, studying SM-88 in other tumor types, and also working with PanCan to potentially expand the Precision Promise into first line. For oral SM-88, our pivotal study in third line, TYME-88-Panc, we anticipate completing enrollment by roughly the end of 2020 with data to follow in 2021. The Tyme pipeline really falls into 3 key buckets. The first is oral SM-88. Oral SM-88 is a pipeline within a therapy. We have our ongoing pivotal study in third-line pancreatic cancer, the Precision Promise study in second line, which also is a registration intent study, and we're also in conversations with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network to potentially expand Precision Promise in the study of SM-88 into first line in combination with Abraxane gemcitabine. We've completed our prostate phase 2. We look forward to publishing those results. We anticipate doing so this year. And then we have our ongoing sarcoma study. In addition to these ongoing studies and completed studies, we have future trials that we will potentially focus on in breast cancer, prostate cancer, and/or hematology. The second aspect of our pipeline are other formulations for SM88. These include both injectable and nasal, the injectable potentially being a formulation for those patients who are digestively compromised, and the nasal for those patients who potentially have a brain or a glioma tumor. We do know that SM88 crosses the blood-brain barrier, so we look forward to further exploring these other formulations. And the third aspect of our pipeline is TYME-18. This is a novel cancer metabolism-based compound that is an intratumoral injection. We announced preclinical data this year for that very intriguing compound, and this would be appropriate for a patient whose tumor is non-resectable or needs an immediate therapeutic intervention. Unfortunately, from a patient standpoint, the tumor types that we are focused on continue to increase in terms of their incidence. That's a challenge from a patient standpoint. This does present an opportunity for Tyme to partner with patients in clinical trials and partner with our clinical trial sites to advance our therapies and expand our opportunities into other potential cancers for either oral SM88 or other of our CMBT compounds in our pipeline. We have a unique scientific approach with our cancer metabolism-based therapies. I'll speak specifically about oral SM88. Oral SM88 is a modified dysfunctional tyrosine. It is a racemic mix. Cancer cells, unlike healthy cells, need to take in non-essential amino acids. Most of our healthy cells can manufacture their own non-essential amino acids, but not cancer cells. So a cancer cell sees oral SM88 in the circulation, takes in the compound, and what happens because SM88 is modified and dysfunctional, it disrupts protein synthesis, eventually breaking down cell protective barriers, and then eventually leading to cell death from oxidative stress. When our scientific founder and CEO, Steve Hoffman, developed oral SM88, he developed it to target the cancer cell and to spare the healthy cells as much as possible. And to date, our clinical data has been very encouraging in terms of encouraging efficacy, but also a well-tolerated safety profile. Our patent portfolio is strong and deep. We have patents broadly covering composition, methods, manufacturing, and use for the company's pipeline, extending to 2032 and beyond. These are global patents as depicted on this map on slide 10. You could see the range globally of where our patent applications are either granted and/or pending. Clinical data. Oral SM88 in both our first-in-human study and also the compassionate use program achieved confirmed clinical responses across 15 different tumor types. And as depicted on slide 12, these range from solid tumors to also hematologic malignancies, and as you could see, a number of great unmet medical needs. Clinical data has advanced in pancreatic cancer. Before I talk about our clinical data, just a reminder of the pancreatic cancer treatment paradigm here in the U.S. So pancreatic cancer is unfortunately a very, very challenging prognosis for patients. There's over 55,000 patients diagnosed each year. Over 40,000 patients actively seek first-line therapy. There's some FDA-approved therapies or recommended therapies through guidelines. Unfortunately, the overall response rate's only about 30%, survival's 8 to 11 months, and the side effect profile is very challenging, with most therapies having serious adverse events in 50% of patients or greater. Second-line therapies, over 20,000 patients are seeking second-line therapy. Survival's only 4 to 6 months. And when you get to third line, there's over 10,000 patients actively seeking therapy. There's no FDA-approved therapies. There's no oncology guideline recommendations. These poor patients have great unmet needs. And unfortunately, their survival based on published literature once they reach third line is only about 2 to 3 months. So there's a great unmet need to advance therapy for patients. Tyme is committed to partnering with clinical trials, physicians, and patients to advance oral SM88. Let me share with you the clinical data that we've seen to date. So TYME-88-Panc Part 1 data was presented at ESMO GI in July of 2019. Of the 38 evaluable patients as of the April 25th, 2019 cutoff, The median overall survival was 6.4 months. Over 80% of the patients in the study were third line or greater. And based on the reported literature, expected survival for a third line pancreatic patient is approximately 2 to 2.5 months. So we were very encouraged by this data that we presented at ESMO GI. What was also interesting is of the 25 patients who had evaluable scans, 11 out of 25, or 44% of the patients, achieved a clinical benefit rate. The reason that this is so relevant is 100% of the patients in our study had to have actively progressing disease. It was an inclusion criteria. And what we saw was those patients who achieved at least a stable disease, so achieved at least a change in their disease progression, had a statistically significant improvement in overall survival as compared to those patients who kept progressing. You could see the p-value of 0.02 and a hazard ratio of 0.08. Based on this encouraging data, we advanced SM-88 into a pivotal study. We met with the FDA, received guidance on our trial design, and this study is open and actively enrolling. We are comparing SM-88 in a 1-to-1 randomization with investigator choice. Why investigator choice? Again, no FDA-approved therapy, no oncology guideline recommendations for therapies for third line. This study will be specifically a third line study. Primary endpoint is overall survival, with key secondary endpoint being progression-free survival, and we'll also look at clinical benefit rate and quality of life metrics. We are very proud of our partnership with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network. They are established or have established a very innovative study called Precision Promise. This is the first adaptive design randomized study for pancreatic cancer. You could see on the map on slide 18, 14 outstanding sites in the US have already agreed to be a part of this study, and we are very proud that SM-88 was selected to be studied as a second-line therapy in the Precision Promise study. In terms of other clinical data, we presented our final phase 2 results for our prostate study in September at ESMO. These were biomarker recurrent patients. They were not metastatic yet, so a key endpoint that we looked at was metastatic-free progression. We were very excited to see at the 6-month point, 100% of the 23 patients were free of metastatic progression. 87% of the patients remained free of radiographic progression. A well-tolerated safety profile, no serious or life-threatening adverse events deemed drug-related were observed after cumulative dosing exposure of 149 months. Our sarcoma study, we have a very exciting partnership with the Joseph Ahmed Foundation and Dr. Sant Challa. This study is looking at patients with ultra-rare sarcomas. The two cohorts that we're studying, one cohort with Ewing sarcoma and the other cohort with other sarcomas. Each cohort will have 12 patients. The primary endpoint will be response rate. This is a great unmet medical needs, and this is a very important study that we are excited to be partnering with Dr. Challa and the Joseph Ahmed Foundation. 2020 is a very exciting year for Tyme. We've already accomplished some key milestones, and there's other very important ones to come in the second half of 2020. In our first area of clinical trial milestones, we've already advanced our enrollment in the 88-Panc pivotal study, and we've advanced our enrollment in our sarcoma study, which we refer to as the HOPE study. And we initiated enrollment in the PanCAN Precision Promise study in our second-line arm for SM-88. For the second half of 2020, other potential advancements in the clinical trial area will be advancing SM-88 into other clinical programs, which could potentially include metastatic breast cancer, prostate cancer, and/or hematologic malignancies. We're continuing to partner with PanCAN to potentially advance oral SM-88 into a first-line study as part of the Precision Promise program. And we also do anticipate complete enrollment in the 88-Panc pivotal study by roughly the end of 2020. Preclinical and other scientific communication milestones are also very important for us in 2020. Presenting preclinical data for SM-88 and TYME-18 are key priorities for us, and we will continue to advance those data sets. We're also looking to publish our phase 2 prostate study and the part 1 of our 88-Panc study in the second half of 2020. And other key areas that we will focus on are advancing our health economic work in partnership with key academic leaders, and also advancing our next very important compound, TYME-18, into IND readiness. Tyme is very excited for 2020. We've already accomplished some very important milestones with other important ones to come. We are passionate in advancing therapies for patients with great unmet medical needs. We look forward to continuing to partner with patients in the clinical trial sites as we look to advance oral SM-88 and our other compounds that we have in development. Thank you.